The great flash has faded. The world, once alive with color and movement, now lies still beneath a heavy, unnatural silence. The impossible heat has cooled, leaving behind a scorched earth that still smolders in places, the ground itself wounded and steaming. The roar of the world tearing itself apart is gone, replaced by a haunting quiet that settles over the ruins. In its place, a new sound, a quiet hiss, the sound of radioactive dust settling, whispering through the broken remains of civilization. This is not rain, but toxic ash, a poison that will cover everything it touches, blanketing the world in a deadly shroud. The immediate fury of the nuclear blast is over, but the true nightmare is just beginning. The aftermath is a slow, creeping disaster. This dust is radioactive fallout, the ghost of the atomic fire, carrying invisible destruction far beyond the blast zone, haunting the land. Unlike the blast, fallout is a patient predator, drifting on the wind, ignoring borders and walls, settling wherever the breeze takes it. It is the long, slow epilogue to nuclear war, lasting days, years, even generations. The world will remember this silence for centuries. The silence, after a nuclear detonation, is deceptive. Not peace, but anticipation. It is the breath held before the next disaster. Survivors now face a world turned hostile, where air and earth are contaminated with invisible energy, and every moment is a struggle. Fallout arrives not with a bang, but a whisper, coating the world in a fine, deadly snow that seeps into every crack and crevice. Survivors look up at a bruised sky, feeling grit on their skin, unaware of the full danger. The threat is silent, invisible, and everywhere. They cannot see the gamma rays or feel the particles they inhale. The danger is hidden, lurking in every breath and every touch. They only know the world is broken, and the silence is filled with menace. Every shadow, every quiet moment, holds a new fear. Fallout seeps deeper into the earth, promising a slow, agonizing fate for all it touches. The land itself becomes a silent enemy. The storm has passed, but the poison remains. Its legacy will linger long after the clouds have cleared. The landscape is transformed, familiar places now treacherous and alien, stripped of their former meaning and safety. Every breath, every step, carries risk. The simple act of moving forward is now an act of courage and desperation. The nightmare is not over, it has only changed form. The world waits, holding its breath for what comes next. The survivor's ordeal has just begun. Their journey through this new, hostile world will test every limit. This is the legacy of Fallout, a silent, enduring threat that will haunt the Earth for generations to come. To understand Fallout, we must see how it's created. A nuclear detonation unleashes a fireball hotter than the sun. An air burst draws little material from the ground, but a ground burst is far more sinister. When the fireball touches Earth, it vaporizes everything: soil, rock, buildings, turning it into radioactive gas. This material rises in the mushroom cloud, cools, and condenses into radioactive particles. Heavy particles fall quickly, contaminating areas near the blast. Lighter ones travel for hundreds or thousands of miles. The Earth itself becomes a weapon, spreading lethal radiation far and wide. Ground bursts, designed to destroy hardened targets, also render vast regions uninhabitable. Modern nuclear strategies risk poisoning the planet for generations. Fallout doesn't spread evenly. Its reach is unpredictable and shaped by the forces of nature. Wind creates shifting patterns of radioactive contamination, carrying dangerous particles far from the original blast site. Local fallout is immediate and deadly. Large radioactive particles settle within 24 hours, creating lethal hot zones downwind of the explosion. In these zones, radiation can kill within minutes, even miles away. Exposure remains dangerous for anyone caught outside. Global fallout is different. Fine particles are swept high into the stratosphere, where they can circle the globe for months or even years. This process ensures that every part of the planet, no matter how remote, receives some level of radioactive contamination. Global fallout is less intense than local fallout, but it enters the food chain, contaminating crops, water, and animals, raising cancer and genetic risks worldwide. The true danger zone of a nuclear attack is vastly larger than the blast area itself, stretching far beyond the initial destruction. Survival depends not just on distance from ground zero, but on the wind's direction and speed at the time of the explosion. Fallout makes nuclear war a threat to millions, even those living far from any intended target, reminding us that its consequences are truly global. Fallout's harm is invisible. Gamma rays pass through the body, damaging cells. High doses cause acute radiation sickness, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, then collapse of the immune system. Infections become deadly, bleeding is uncontrollable, and the body breaks down from within. There is no cure for a high dose. Care is only palliative. Combined injuries, burns plus radiation, are almost always fatal. In a devastated world, even minor wounds can kill. Survivors face lifelong cancer risks, leukemia, thyroid, lung, and more. Radiation damages DNA, causing birth defects and genetic mutations for generations. Fallout's legacy is not just immediate death, but a shadow of illness and suffering. The true toll is measured in lives lost and futures stolen. Survival depends on shelter, putting dense material between you and fallout, earth, concrete, and lead shield against radiation. A basement or fallout shelter can save lives. The rule: maximize time in shelter, distance from fallout, and shielding. But reaching shelter in time is difficult. Fallout can arrive within minutes. Most must use whatever is at hand: basements, interior rooms, trenches. Once inside, survivors must stay for days or weeks with enough food, water, and supplies. Sanitation and ventilation become critical problems. Even after sheltering, the world outside is poisoned, food, water, and land contaminated. Evacuation is nearly impossible. Survivors must navigate a radioactive landscape. Sheltering is not a solution, only a temporary reprieve. Nuclear war creates vast, overlapping zones of lethal fallout, uninhabitable for centuries. Some radioactive elements decay quickly, but others, like strontium-90 and cesium-137, persist for decades. It takes hundreds of years for these isotopes to become safe. Cleanup is nearly impossible. Chernobyl and Fukushima are small examples compared to nuclear war's scale. Contaminated lands leak poison into air, water, and food chains, threatening the entire planet. Wind and rain spread radioactive particles far beyond the blast zones. Animals and water carry contamination to new areas. These regions become festering wounds, endangering global health and recovery. The idea of rebuilding is a cruel illusion. Fallout ensures the scars of nuclear war last for generations. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were airbursts, devastating, but with limited fallout. The bombs unleashed unimaginable destruction, instantly leveling entire neighborhoods and killing tens of thousands. Yet, because the explosions happened above ground, much of the radioactive material was carried away by the wind rather than settling in the city. The cities were rebuilt. Radiation decayed quickly because the ground was not heavily irradiated. Survivors returned, and over time, life resumed among the ruins. The land itself was not poisoned for generations, allowing hope to slowly return. Modern nuclear weapons are different. Many are designed for ground bursts to destroy hardened targets like missile silos and command bunkers. And these weapons are far more advanced and far more destructive. Ground bursts create massive fallout, poisoning thousands of square miles. Radioactive particles settle on soil, water, and crops, making entire regions uninhabitable for decades or longer. A single submarine can launch over 100 warheads, each far more powerful than Hiroshima's bomb. These weapons can strike from anywhere on Earth, making them nearly impossible to defend against. Modern war would mean hundreds of ground bursts, overlapping fallout zones, and entire regions rendered deadly. The devastation would not be limited to cities, but would spread across continents. Survival outside target cities is a dangerous myth. Rural areas, once thought to be safe, would also be blanketed by radioactive fallout. Fallout would ensure no safe havens. Even those far from the blast would face deadly risks from invisible radiation. Hiroshima is not a comfort. It's a warning of how much worse modern nuclear war would be. The lessons of the past urge us to understand the true scale of today's threat. The reality is far more catastrophic. The world must remember, and act, before history repeats itself on an unimaginable scale. The idea of a limited nuclear war is a dangerous fantasy. Fallout ignores borders and rules. Wind and rain spread poison everywhere. Even a limited exchange contaminates neighboring countries, farmland, and water. No nation can declare neutrality from the atmosphere. Fallout enters oceans, food chains, and devastates agriculture worldwide. Famine and disease could kill more than the blasts themselves. Nuclear war is not a single event, but a global catastrophe. There are no winners, only loss on a planetary scale. Our fates are linked. The only way to survive nuclear war is to prevent it. Fallout is the ultimate warning. Once unleashed, its effects cannot be contained.